It appears that we do have a quorum, so I will now call the January 8th, 2022 meeting of the Industrial Development Board to order. Next matter on the agenda is the consideration of the minutes from our March meeting. I'll give everyone a quick moment to give those a quick final review. All right, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second? All right, we do have a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right, any opposed indicate by saying nay. All right, the minutes are adopted. Thank you. Next item is our public hearing comment period. Are there any members of the public present wishing to participate in the public comment period today? All right, if you do, please come to the front, state your name. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board. As I do not see anyone here for the public comment period, we will now close the public comment period and move on to the next item on the agenda. So first item on the agenda under new business is related, just quick background. Back in 2020, and again, some of our board members were not on the board at that time, but thought this was a great opportunity to get an update on the project, but certainly for those board members that are new that were not on the board to get an update. So this board back in 2020 approved a pilot agreement for WeGo for a transit center hub in North Nashville on Clarksville Highway. Thought it was I was fortunate enough to be on the board at the time. Certainly it was a project that I voted for, and certainly several members on this board did as well. Again, it was approved. We have the owner of the property, developer DJ Woodson, who is here today, and there's a document that he is needing for his bank. And again, to be clear, it's this document we're required under the documents that we did back in 2020 because of the pilot agreement, the property had to be deeded over to the IDB just because of law regarding pilot agreements. So we are required to sign this document for the bank. But again, out of the spirit of transparency, just want to share that with the board. But more than anything, just thought it was a great opportunity to also just perfect timing to get an update on the project as that was, as the WeGo deal pilot was approved in 2020. So again, really want to more so focus on that and giving everybody an update. I think it's just personally, I think it's a phenomenal project. And this board has talked a lot about equity for all parties, and certainly transportation can be a huge, if you don't have reliable transportation, that can be a huge barrier for education, but certainly for work economically. And so it was a great part of town to have that. So let me do this first. We have Jim Murphy here from the illustrious Jim Murphy from Bradley. And Jim represents WeGo. And he was, if you all recall, we were meeting virtually at the time in 2020, but Jim kind of gave us an update on the project at that time and presented. So I asked Jim to get with WeGo to be able to provide us an update today. Again, nothing that this board is voting on, but certainly just want to make everybody aware of the project and get an update, because I think it's really huge for that part of town. And then, DJ, if you'll come up afterwards, kind of, if you want to talk to us a little bit about the development, what you're doing, and then then I've also corresponded with Councilmember Toombs as well, the local council representative, so I'll share some of her feedback on the project. So, Jim, I'll turn it over to you if you'll introduce yourself. And
there. Is that on? Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Mr. Chair. If you'll go ahead and pass out the drawings I gave you earlier. I'm Jim Murphy with Bradley, and we represent WeGo. As the chair mentioned, in 2020, we came before this board to get a pilot agreement. This is a little bit of an unusual situation because typically WeGo would own the property on which its transit centers would be located, and so it would be exempt from taxes because WeGo is a governmental entity. But here, as the chair pointed out, the property is owned by an entity owned by Mr. Woodson, and they did a long-term ground lease with MTA to develop the site. And it's a really good site for WeGo because it allows connections between 5 existing and 1 proposed transit line in this location. And what that does, what these neighborhood transit centers do, is they allow people to change bus lines without going into the central office downtown. And so it really does facilitate people going across town and not having to go all the way in and coming back out. It speeds up their time of transit. It's a real positive, typically development around these transit centers, such as what Mr. Woodson is proposing, tend to happen because they're great hubs for people to come and ride. They have bike opportunities for people to bike to the transit center, catch a bus, and then go all over town. So this was a really good location for WeGo, and that's why it was selected. Unfortunately, with anything that requires federal funds, it takes a really long time to get everything in place. And so I've passed out some schematics of the layout of the transit center, which we did not have back in 2020. That these were not developed until further along. And the project now is under construction and is expected to be completed in the fall of 2023. And so hopefully when that occurs, then obviously all the benefits that WeGo was hoping to achieve will be fully realized. But nothing's changed from the standpoint of the scope of the project. It's still on track. It's still anticipated to do the same things that it was when we were here originally in 2020. But since we didn't have a lot of detail back then as far as what the transit center would look like and those kind of things, and also we didn't have a clear idea of when we would be finished, the chair asked me to come and kind of brief you all on that. So that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to answer any questions I can answer, which are probably not many, but I can answer. I'll try to do the best. And if I can't, I'll get back to you after I talk with my client.
Awesome, outstanding. Again, board, it's nothing we need to vote on today, but certainly thought it was, again, great project. And to me, it fits in a lot with what I've heard this board say about, equity and really improving lives for everyone all over the city. I'll start here to my left. Board Member Oakley, any questions?
No questions. I currently work with WeGo as a consultant, and so understanding how important.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. Hit the red button, please.
Understanding how important the busing is. I know there's going to be also one in South Nashville, and connecting them all. So letting people see this gets them excited. The Hillsborough Transit Center that opened up is very convenient. I parked at the Green Hills Mall, got on the bus, went to the Cherry Blossom Festival, and came back. I encourage everyone to do so. You don't have to ride from your house. You can park somewhere and ride in. Very easy, very affordable. So this is going to be great for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Oakley. Board Member Davis.
Just quickly say I share the same vision and sentiment. We've been talking about this North Nashville hub for a long time. I know Mr. Bland has been wonderful about the cross-town connections when he came to town as our chair, started that conversation immediately. And we've always wondered that, a lifetime of wondering about crosstown connections, and we're finally getting more of those. So it's great, and we're servicing a community that rides the bus often, and I think this is going to be wonderful. So. Yeah, you said we're not voting on anything today. We're just project update kind of thing. Is that what I understood?
Yeah, so we'll talk about it shortly, but again, because DJ Woodson, the developer, because we did the pilot agreement, this particular MTA project, the property has to be deeded to the board because there's a property tax, a pilot deal. But as part of that, he's needing something for his bank, which under the agreement that we have with DJ, the facility lease, which was included in the documents, we're required to execute that document. So no, nothing that we want to vote on today, but again, since it had been almost 2 years since this had come before our board, thought it was perfect timing, and certainly we have some new board members as well. I thought it was just, quite frankly, as I told DJ, perfect timing to come. And I knew Jim Murphy wouldn't have a problem. He didn't have too much to do today.
Yeah, no, of course not. He's always willing to hang out with us. And the renderings look great, and just look forward to hearing more about it. Thanks.
Thank you, Board Member Davis.
I would just agree with my fellow board members. I really appreciate having the schematic. It's helpful to see the development, and looking forward to it. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. I'll go to the right. Board Member Wright, any questions or comments?
Yeah, comment and a question. Great project, and I love to see development on D.B. Todd, Clarksville Highway area, sparking that area. So been looking forward. I've seen the signs go up, and seen the fencing. So I was like, I wonder what it's going to look like.
Yeah, there's a fence over. I was there last week. Yeah, they got the fence up. So
cool.
You see that fence go up? That's
it's getting ready to start.
It's going to start at some point.
Yeah, so it's a great project, and it's much needed over there. One question. This may be a question for you, Jim or DJ. On the buses, when they exit, are they going to exit onto D.B. Todd or the side street?
I think they have an exit both on 28th and on Clarksville Pike.
Oh, Clarksville, yeah, it changes in the Clarksville Pike, yes. So Clarksville Pike is a 2-lane, pretty much highway. So, and I drive down it probably every day. So I'm wondering, when the buses enter, is there going to be another lane created for them to blend, because it is tight?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I'll check with the folks from WeGo and get.
In their design, if it's not on your sheet, I think in their design they have the road kind of moves into the land a little bit.
Okay.
To provide like an in and out lane.
Okay, egress way.
I think coming out of, they will only be turning like right on Clarksville Highway coming in town. They won't be turning across traffic.
Okay.
Give me 1 second, and I might be able to give a better answer.
I think on their design, so if you're coming down Clarksville Highway from Bordeaux, I think the lane, I think they move into the property like a
right.
Like with a,
okay.
access lane. So when the buses leave out and turn to the right, they have a way to get out and get into traffic.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was wondering, because if they just actually cut into traffic, boy, that was going to be a situation. That would not work. And hopefully we can get the streets repaved over there, too. Yeah, that's something we have to work on, getting those streets repaved.
If you give me a second, I'm going to look. I might have gotten a copy of a site plan. And if you give me a second, I'll try to pull it up and see if I can.
Okay.
See if I can give you, from looking at that. I believe that's right. I don't disagree with what Mr. Woodson is saying. Yeah. So let's see. They do have a pullout off of Clarksville Pike where buses can load and unload and not pull into the center.
Okay.
But they also do have an entry and exit out. I think the exit out is a right turn only. It's not a left turn across. across.
Okay.
I think if they want to turn across, they're going to have to go to the light.
Okay, which would make sense, right.
Yeah, I think that's the way it's designed. That's right.
Okay, yeah, that'll work, yeah.
Yep. From looking at it, I didn't bring that. I apologize, but yeah,
That's okay.
I think that site plan does show that their traffic flow is intending to right turn out of on the Clarksville Pike, but for the left turns to go back up to the light.
Okay, great, thanks.
Sure.
And board member, do you live in this council district too?
I'm in 19.
19.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we have a lot of affordable housing, in that
Sure.
area. So our organization, I'm traveling a lot.
Gotcha.
Actually, to get to home, I
Sure.
go down Clarksville Highway.
Okay. Well, thank you for your questions. And any other comments or questions?
No, just anxious to see it start construction.
All right.
Great.
Board member Johnson, any questions or comments for our guest? Hit to the right, far right. There you go.
That one's not working. This is actually right around the corner from my new house that I just bought, so I'm very excited.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you, to see how this development works out. I echo everything he said. Definitely the streets over there are ridiculous. I'm also really worried about just traffic bottlenecking in the area, so I don't know who's responsible for making sure that the traffic flow isn't just too congested, but I will be watching to make sure we consider the residents in the area. Also, something else is the walkability of that area. There are a lot of residents that bike in that area and a lot of people that walk. There's a school right around the corner and people are always walking their kids to school. So just something else to consider, that there are like bike lanes and sidewalks and adequate walkability, because people do walk a lot in the area. Other than that, I think it's definitely very well needed.
Yep. Thank you for your comments and perspective. And certainly, with you living right around the corner, we'd certainly love to hear more once it's done and hear how it's going, for sure. Board Member Cordova, any questions or comments for our guests?
I think everybody said everything I was going to say anyway. I think this is a great project, and I applaud what's happening here, so thank you.
Vice Chair Siegel, any questions for Jim?
Yeah, I'm so happy to see any sort of increased crosstown bus traffic. I try really hard to use the bus when I can and to ride my bike and walk when I can.
But you rode your bike
I rode
today,
my bike here
in the
today
humid
because
weather.
I couldn't take the bus because it was going to take me over an hour to make
connect.
it from right by Belmont because there's no crosstown connectivity. And I'm mindful that the weather is blowing in this afternoon, so if I'm anxious, it's just because I don't want to, get struck by lightning on the way home.
I'll give you a ride.
Thank you. I would just echo what my fellow board member Johnson said, which is when I look at this aerial and I look at the Greenway map and I think about my bike and I think about multimodal transportation, I think, how do I get off the bus and get to the Greenway 2 blocks away? And there's no back way to do it safely. So I wouldn't do it with my children on my bike or hold my hands. And Clarksville Pike is just not a road I'm going to ride my bike on or really want to walk on with like a 2-year-old, just because she's little and people can't see her and it's so crazy. And I know I'm mindful that we go and NDOT is separate from parks and greenways, but I would hope that that conversation is happening and I would encourage that conversation to happen so that this really can tie into that greenway right there by Ted Rhodes, which takes us all around the city and allows for a much more open transit plan. But it looks great. I'm thrilled to start somewhere.
And I would just add that part of what is going on as part of this project would be improved sidewalks around the site. That was one of the things. Part of the problem that WeGo has is because this is funded with federal transit funds, it can't get too far afield in doing regular government projects because the federal transit people will say, well, that's not a transit, that's a city greenway. And so to some extent, they tried to stretch as far as they could, as using as much as they could for pedestrian improvements in the area. And I think that part of that was improving the existing sidewalks along Clarksville Pike. And but it doesn't get exactly what you want because Metro has to close the gap on that piece. And so that's a different conversation that they are in fact having. They are in fact working with Metro to do that. The mayor was that was one of his issues when we first talked with him about going through this process, was to make sure that this wasn't left alone, that the whole interconnectivity of the whole neighborhood was looked at. So I'm not sure where that's been in the last 2 years, but I do know that's been a conversation.
Thank you for your comments. I was hoping you'd throw some harder questions at Jim, but that's okay.
This is a hard one to ask hard questions about because it's such a good project.
No, it's a great project. Well, Jim, thank you for taking the time and representing WeGo to come. DJ, if you'll come up, introduce yourselves, and I would just ask you to give us maybe a little bit whatever details you're able to share about the overall shopping center there and why you thought it was important to, obviously you had to agree and deed the property over to us for this pilot deal, so why you thought it was important to have MTA there as a tenant in that area, and anything else you want to share with us? And lastly, just brief overview of the joinder, not very high level on what you're needing with your bank, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Right. So, first of all, good morning, and thank you for your time. Appreciate being here. I see a familiar face in Tequila over there. So I'll start with, I thought it was important for this to happen. The intersection between housing and transit and workforce and things like that, I believe is very important, especially when you can align people with transportation from where they live to get to other places. I know Nashville has been trying to do that for quite some time with certain different projects, and some have gone over well over the last few years and moving in that direction, and some aren't. I know there's one in Donaldson that they wanted to try, the big transit-oriented development that didn't quite go that direction, but it's good to see this one going, because I think this is where, and even MTA, according to their statistic, this area has the most ridership for them in their whole program. And so being able to bring something like this that provides connectivity, so you don't have to get on the bus in North Nashville somewhere, go all the way downtown just to take it over to Green Hills, right? You can have this kind of connectivity to get to places faster, as she noted. And also being able to provide that with housing and other types of retail in the service area, I just think makes total sense. And North Nashville doesn't have this type of landmark opportunity as it sits to bring this type of economic development to the area. So I think this will go over well in that regards. What our plans are, they've been slow going because we got a tenant in the shopping center in City Trends who we couldn't get to agree to leave early, and so their lease.
Gotta up that fee.
Well, we did, but they were talking ridiculous numbers. And so I was, throwing everything. And so we've been working on trying to, find a new location, but they leave at the beginning of 2024. And so, when I first was like, come on, you got a year and a half to go. And this smart aleck guy is like, oh, well, $3 million. And I'm like, nobody's paying you $3 million for a year left on your lease when you got to leave anyway.
Right, because the lease is over.
The lease is over. Like you got to leave anyway. And so they've been sitting on their hands in regards to that. And so we've been out trying to find them locations. So we started talking to them about trying to find other locations that that might work for them in the area. And it's just tough over in North Nashville, especially these days. So sure. We're still looking at some other opportunities to do that, to replace City Trends. They want to stay in the area. The community shops there, so I don't mind trying to work with them on that and helping them do that. And so that's why we've been slow going in doing anything, announcing anything. And so it's hard to do that kind of two and a half years out at the time we started talking about it. But the plan, as I know it, I partnered with a development group out of Florida. And so they're going to be my development partners. They'll be lead. I'll be junior development partner in that. But the plan is for housing, some light retail, and some, spaces like co-working space opportunity and some other, things that, will connect, that site to the community with opportunities. And so originally I wanted to plan some type of more office opportunity because earlier on my conversations I had with the city is that the city would like to be centrally located in some of their in some of their offices. You got one of their offices downtown at the Bridgestone Arena. You got some offices over here on this side of town, and they would like to maybe bring some of that stuff into one centrally located. So at one point, I talked about having a building that housed offices, and even for Metro and other people that might require office space in the general area. So I don't know how that's going to go over, but we're going to look into it and see what we can do as far as that concerned. But I know the plan is for some housing, apartments, and some general light retail and some co-working space opportunities and things that tie in to what the Transit Center has to offer and Clarksville Highway has to offer.
So, and tagging on that, we are looking at doing our first space planning for Metropolitan Nashville. We do have a lot of fragmented offices, but having worked in other cities, we actually have done space planning and a needs assessment. We have not done one in Nashville, so we are kicking off our first one. As you know, we have a lot of firsts here in Nashville.
Yeah, that's what I could fragmented offices. I couldn't come up with that so eloquently as you just did.
Motivate when I'm around.
I appreciate it. So yeah, and as far as the IDB and the joint is concerned, I just needed it to be able to leverage the opportunity that I had with WeGo to extend some of my business opportunities into other business to help finance some of the other things I'm trying to work on. So that's why the jointer was important. My bank required it to have it to make sure that all this was solidified.
Yep. Thank you for sharing that. I'll just tell you, and when we spoke on the phone, I told you the same thing. I was super excited, very, very delighted that I had the opportunity to be on the board 2 years ago when this came up, because transportation is can be such a hindrance. And certainly when I was a kid, I took public transportation, to school. But yeah, when you have to go from here to downtown to transfer, it does make it more challenging, more time consuming. And so certainly having it there. And so I'm really excited to hear too what you're doing with your project, because that totally fits in with being right there with the transit. So maybe people can live there, and maybe they don't have a car. Maybe they don't want to use their car every day. They're right next to, transit that can get them there and be more convenient. So super excited about the project, and thank you for everything you're doing, especially in North Nashville, and thank you for coming today. I'll start here on my right this time. Board Member Wright, any questions for DJ? And we thank you for sharing again some information with us about the development. Board Member Wright, any questions or comments on the project?
Comment. DJ, I appreciate you bringing the project to North Nashville, because on that Clarksville Highway, DB Todd, all that area, development's needed, especially commercial. And we're doing a lot of residential, but we need that commercial piece in there. And that's a lot of land. I was hoping something large would come there. At this stage, I'm not sure you have a unit count on the development that you're going to do on that property. Not yet.
I don't really. Maybe as high as 300.
Okay.
I don't really know for sure, but it'd be somewhere in that range.
Okay, great. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be like, mixed use, as you mentioned, commercial, offices. And, of course, I'm going to always push for some affordability or workforce in there. So I don't know if you have plans for that, but it'd be great, if you have a 300-unit count, that maybe some workforce and, affordable units could be in the project as well.
I know right now we don't have a definite or designated plan. We considered everything that was happening around us, and I know that in talking with MDHA and other folks, that they're going to be redoing Cumberland View right across the street from us, which will be a considerable amount of income, low-income workforce housing. If you consider what they did over at Casey and things like that, and directly across the street on the other corner is a 5-acre site where they did some it's all low-income housing.
Urban House Solutions.
Yeah. Urban House Solution. That whole 5 acres is all committed to low-income housing and all that kind of stuff. And so
you might not be needed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. On the
not
front
to follow
end,
that up,
so,
that might cover a lot of it.
We just didn't need to have the feel of everything being low-income and workforce housing. I think there are constituents and North Nashvilleians who. And just my conversations of development over there over the last 10 years, that everything doesn't, just because it's in North Nashville, doesn't mean it has to always be affordable and or considered low-income housing or affordable to be a development. And so I think the balance should be there.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I completely forgot about Cumberland and redoing that, so that probably will offset anyway. So I look forward to seeing the plan, and like I said, I love developing this area because we've been waiting on it for a long time. So kudos.
Thank you.
So to add on that, the city's actually doing their first uniform housing policy. That should be launched in a couple months. There's also what they call a market value analysis, which kind of works with developers and you. They kind of look at what are the best locations to build housing, and it's not all affordable housing. I think from a federal standpoint, there's been a number of cities sued just by putting housing, particular local housing within certain census tracts. You can't just isolate those housing to certain areas. You have to build around amenities and services. And so as we craft our first housing policy, as we craft our first market value analysis, which leads into our first strategy for economic development, these things are coming together to build a more uniform and balanced city.
Correct. Yeah, you don't have concentrated property. That's one thing they mentioned. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Wright. Board Member Johnson, any questions or comments?
I have a couple of questions. The first one is, what's the plan for that liquor store across the street?
Wait a minute, which one? On Buchanan and?
The one that's on DB Todd across from Bud's Hardware.
Yeah, I wish I had a plan. If anybody knows the owner or know how to get in touch with the owner, I'd love to buy it. And,
you mean you own it?
And redo the corner. I had a conversation with the councilman, and he was like, "Man, you think you guys?" I was like, if somebody puts me in contact with the owner, it's an eyesore to me too, just as much as it is to you or anybody who comes into that corridor. Now, I was partly responsible for the Dollar General going there. I tracked down that owner and struck a deal with the owner and the then developer of that corner and co-developed that Dollar General site with the owner at the time, and they put that Dollar General there. And so these days I can probably take on that corner myself if I knew how to get in touch with the owner. And the little spare tire shop across the street. Yeah.
My other question is less about the development, well, kind of about the development, but what are your ideas for maintaining the culture? I know that the city council, the councilman, and I've had some rather choice words for him about wanting to restrict the type of businesses that can go on Buchanan Street, despite long-term residents wanting to keep those businesses. So I don't want to see exacerbated gentrification, which we know that's going to happen anyway, but what are you going to do to try to at least keep it colorful?
Well, it is always my idea and intention to do stuff, as they say, for the culture, but it always comes down to economics, Tequila. It's like it's one thing to, want to keep it culturally, but it's another thing to consider the disposable income in the area, right? You do stuff for a certain demographic, and you have it just for that, but is the disposable income there to consider that those businesses need to be patronized a certain amount of times a week, a certain amount of times a day, a certain amount of times a month to be sustainable? Case in point, I put Smoothie King on Jefferson Street. Smoothie King has left because they said they weren't getting enough business from the community to sustain that location. And their rent was, I don't know, maybe $1,700 a month. somewhere in that area, but they felt
Dirt cheap.
Yeah, they
So
felt
it's not a rent issue.
no, it wasn't rent. It's the sustainability. So when you consider that, you don't know how many times over the years I've tried to get Panera Bread, Jimmy John's, Dunkin' Donuts, you name it. Over the last 10 years, I've reached out to various different retailers who just said the demographics don't work for us, right? And if you unpack that, you know what it means. It means that the dollars don't transfer enough in these areas for these businesses to be sustainable. So if you say to keep a culture, and so if it's not a business or an idea, something like Slim and Huskies that you know is going to be patronized for the culture and it's going to cross over like that, then it's hard to, just to do stuff that speaks to one demographic when the business has to be funded. You have to continue to be able to patronize for that to be sustainable, for be able to make the rent and overhead for that business to stay there. So the idea is just to try to provide things that you feel like and the community needs and would patronize, and that could be done a myriad of ways, a myriad of things. I thought coffee shop and a Smoothie King would just be phenomenal. And, as you know, the first coffee shop guy left within the first year. Now we got a new one, and the Smoothie King just left. And so
that was more of what I was asking. Like, I love, Courtney, thank you for pushing. I know you've been adamant about getting this needs assessment and all of these different assessments and evaluations, but that's kind of where I'm headed. It's like, what are you going to do to make sure that things people who live in that community want? Black folk. Ed's Fish, because I would argue Slim and Huskies is probably the most diversely supported business on Buchanan. But things like that, what are you going to do to ensure that those businesses have opportunities to maybe lease in that commercial space? I mean, the other developers right there with Don Harding and Kelly, they're like offsetting rent to keep the economic piece there. So, I mean, I know you probably haven't gotten that far. That's just an idea.
And that has to do with, with landowners and, how they're willing to partner, right? Or, if they want $1.5 million or $2 million for a quarter of an acre, you can't make that work economically by doing certain things. You have to do something to make that money back, or to do something. And so it just works. If somebody came to me and said, and Ed's Fish said, hey, I'd work with you, and I can build a building on there and maybe put some type of units on there and put Ed's back in the retail spot.
You can make it work because you're going vertical.
Yeah, I can make that work. I can keep Ed's there right on the corner and build a building and put some housing or something there and rechange that corner, beautify it, and keep Ed's. Right? It would just have to be, something like that. So if you know Ed, put him in touch with me.
Well, it also comes down to this body and the tools that we have. The current tools you have are not useful for a developer like DJ. You look at our counterpart cities of Memphis, they actually have a pilot for small-scale businesses to help a business like Ed's go into a building like he has, and that also helps him with a tax abatement. So as you look at working with, I guess, your new council, potentially to craft a plan and strategy, look at your toolbox, you have to bring the right tools to help development. There are basically 3 levers for helping a developer like a DJ. How to help reduce his property costs or tenant's property costs with a tax abatement. How to help reduce his development costs, utilizing TIF assistance. This body has TIF authority. How to use bond financing, providing cheap capital for development. So there are multiple tools in the toolbox you can tap into, along with creating new tools, both from this body but also from Metro Council. So if we want these things in our community, if we want to preserve Ed's and we have Bolton's didn't own their real estate, that's a problem. None of our long-term businesses here in Nashville did not own their real estate, and now real estate prices are going through the roof. I think we've seen a 500% increase in rents in 37208. We've seen an 8% increase in valuation for sales prices in 37208. have to create the right tools to help look at the issues of those communities, but also give the developers and the businesses some aspiration to kind of utilize these tools to help build robust communities. And that goes back to having a uniform housing policy. That goes back to having a strategy for economic development. That goes back to creating a market value analysis so we can see what are the actual impacts and sales prices from a commercial and a residential standpoint within the community. We don't have those tools right now, but we're bringing them to the table so it can help us and developers make educated decisions about what's best for Nashville.
Board Member Johnson, any questions or comments? Thank you. And I'll just say, too, and Courtney, you and I talked briefly about this last week. For those of us that have been on the board for several years, we did have a small business incentive program, and we did have some small businesses that came before us to use it. One of them was blighted property piece. There was another piece that was a grant per employee that was geared towards small business. But from what I recall, and I don't recall the exact numbers, but all of that money that was put into the bucket for that program, and some of those deals did come before this body, and this body did approve several, but there was money left over in the bucket, for that, which also speaks to, people have to know about it as well. But I certainly think there's a substantial, huge opportunity as we move forward and what this board and the capacity of this board continues to grow and change. A huge opportunity to help small businesses as well, because as we're talking about, these things are all interconnected. The housing piece, the rents, and as we know, the housing prices in Nashville have gone up, but so have commercial real estate prices. So, and if you're leasing your property, the rent's either going up or the property owner selling it to a developer that's paying, crazy money that you can't compete with. So, and then where do you go? Because just like DJ said, even for City Trends, trying to find another location for them in the area is tight. So, all these things kind of go hand in hand together. And certainly I think there's huge opportunities for us as we continue to grow and really push small business as well. So thank you for those comments.
So one of the things we're working with small businesses, I think I spoke about the Small Business Recovery Fund. One of the main tools of that is that there's money set aside for marketing and outreach technical assistance. So there's a number of nonprofit community-based partners involved in that, from Conexion to TLAC to the Hispanic Chamber to Corner to Corner to the MBIC, to make sure, one, they're providing technical assistance to those small businesses like a Ed's that needs to scale up, or like a Bolton's that needs to kind of shift their business model, but really providing that outreach. So we're going into those communities. We're working with local agencies and make sure we're getting the word out about these programs. Now, you talk about the Small Business Incentive Program. That program was funded with $1 million back in 2013 by Metro Council. You probably approved it. It was cut back to $150,000 a few years ago. I've asked in this year's budget to restore it back to at least $500,000 to support that property tax incentive program, up to $50,000 for small businesses, but also utilizing the other component of that to support the job creation for small businesses, as long as you create 2 jobs in those underserved census tracts, like a 37208. So that is actually back on the council agenda to restore at least half of the funding of that program, but also having our nonprofit partners to get the word out about these programs again, because marketing and outreach is really key, and also providing technical assistance to those small businesses that really need that QuickBooks and getting their business licenses and getting all the incorporation papers put together. So that is really key success to any small business program.
Yeah, that's super exciting. Go ahead.
In 2013, when that was voted on, if I remember correctly, the council members never went, not all council members went to their constituents and told them about these opportunities. Those that did brought in amazing small businesses, but there's so many that just didn't take on that role as a council member to share that information, because the people we're talking about are not going to hear what we have to offer. So a suggestion is maybe we have to get the council members to buy it in even more so, and they will have to know their communities to be able to bring them forward, along with our nonprofits or partners. But I do remember that initiative, and I remember how was just really, you didn't see minorities at all. No minorities were really involved. But again, it's all to all of us to promote it. So just FYI.
Yeah, and it goes back to my initial comment about a strategy for economic development. I think you've heard me say this many times. We have a role of economic development. We don't have an official office. And so look at our peer cities, they have offices. Portland has 87 people. You look at Seattle, has 47 people. You look at Atlanta, 44 people. Nashville's always had between 1 and 5 people. So as a growing city that's going through a number of changes and cycles, we have to look at what is the best model for economic development for Nashville. I don't think I have an office of 1 to 5 people in a city of 700, 800,000 people. It's going to be really impactful for what we're trying to accomplish, to have a balanced growth for economic development.
Yep, for sure. And I would just say too to Board Member Johnson, and just from and I was at a community meeting with council and Councilmember Toombs' district several months ago, and I will say this about that neighborhood, just from just even my short time at the meeting, the residents there do want, in the neighborhood, they do want more retail, and they were very clear about the types of retail, that they want in the area, which is great. So a very engaging community, and I think the council member does a great job as well of engaging the neighbors, and so I think too and to your point, DJ, with the MTA coming, that certainly brings more traffic to the area as well. So hopefully that will be more attractive to retailers, and certainly what you're doing potentially with adding some housing units as well increases density as well, which can also be attractive to retailers and. Again, I think it's, and Board Member Johnson, to your point, I've had this conversation in general with various people. I'm from Nashville. I grew up here. This is not the Nashville I grew up in. It's changed. I went to high school downtown, and I don't know what my grades would look like if I was in high school now on Broadway, because there's people there all the time, every day. That's just an example. And so one of the things I've talked about is, that's great that Nashville is growing. I'm chair of the Industrial Development Board, which we do economic deals, but that's one of the challenges too, I think, for the city as we grow. It's keeping that culture of certainly, and specifically that specific culture that you describe for specific neighborhoods is maintaining that culture even as we continue to grow, because that's quite frankly what has attracted people to Nashville and what's made it a great place to grow. So, all right, Board Member Cordova, any questions or comments?
No questions. Just to say, sounds like a great deal that you all brokered before I got on the board. I think this is exactly sort of the thing that we want to be doing across the city, frankly, and I'm excited to see what happens in North Nashville, and I hope it does live up to the sort of promises and expectations to keep the community as engaged and as valuable as it is to our city. So thank you for doing what you're doing and come and talk to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Oakley, any other questions or comments? All right, thank you, Board Member. Good. All right. Well, no, you're good.
It's fine.
Vice Chair Siegel.
I just wanted to say thank you, and thank you for having this discussion. I thought it was really interesting and helpful. Also wanted to thank Board Member Oakley, because I did not realize that about council members. By the time I got on the board, we still had that money, and at the time there was one person in Metro who handled the applications, but they were facilitated through the chamber. And I remembered at the time going to my father, who had a company that went from 17 employees to now over 65 in a very short period of time, and he was experiencing growing pains coming out of the recession. And I said, well, did you talk to the chamber about these small business grants? And he said, what are you talking about? And I said, you have a chamber sticker on your door. You've been a lifelong member of the chamber, but nobody had ever mentioned to him that existed. And I know the chamber is very busy with bigger deals at the time, and we didn't have the staff, but I didn't realize that originally the council members were charged with that, and that's interesting. So thank you for sharing that history.
It's on the record now. It's on video.
It's out there, and none of them remember it. So, but thank you again.
Board Member Davis had hair then.
I remember that 10 years.
No, great comments. And again, we did have, I think probably when you first started, we did have a couple come before us. And you know, this board was always very supportive of those small business grants. Lastly, I'll just read this very quickly. I thought it was Councilmember Toombs was unable to come to today's meeting, but I'd certainly want to share her feedback and told her I would. So if you all, let me read this. It's a pretty short email, but I think really impactful and speaks to the passion in this neighborhood for transit and the future impact. The North Nashville Transit Center presents multiple opportunities for North Nashville: connectivity, better access to resources and jobs, a gathering place, a gathering space, and much-needed economic investment and development of an area that has been neglected for decades. As you know, all buses currently go to the downtown station, which significantly increases time and makes getting around the city difficult. District 2 has one of the highest percentages of ridership in the city. We also have one of the highest unemployment rates. Imagine the possibility that individuals don't have to depend on having a car to get to work. We know how expensive it is to live in Nashville. Public transportation provided an affordable and dignified mode of travel to get to work, grocery shopping, get kids to school, entertainment, venues, etc. Creating economic opportunities for communities of color, particularly Black people, is also important. I represent a majority Black district. Much of Nashville's economic growth has left out my community. This site of the new transit center is owned by a Black developer who continuously strives to bring economic development within the Black community. WeGo has made great strides to diversify its contractors and vendors, including working with Black and other minority-owned businesses. This project is a major step forward for my district as well as District 21. The community is excited about it, and I look forward to seeing and using the finished project. So that is from Councilmember Toombs. So, DJ, thank you for coming, and certainly we want to, if there's opportunity for you to come before our board for some of these things, affordable housing projects, if you decide to do some units there and or small business, please, come before us, and we'd be happy to hear those. Specifically as it relates to the joinder request, Josh, obviously we're required to do this in the facility lease agreement that we have, but did you review this? Everything looks good on the document?
I did review this. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if this microphone was working or not. I did review the documents, and actually, since I was not here when you guys initially approved the pilot agreement, went back and pulled those documents and reviewed those as well.
You mean when I emailed it to you?
I actually we found them in the system, so I actually found the signed documents.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so you just had the Word doc versions, but I reviewed all the documents, and there is nothing for this board to vote on, because as you mentioned in the facility lease agreement, we basically agreed that we would execute such a document if it came before the board.
Outstanding. All right, any other questions? All right, that sounds good. Well, thank you all again. DJ, thank you so much again. It just worked out that this was perfect timing. As you could see, a lot of interest and questions about the overall area and certainly the WeGo project. So perfect timing that you needed this. We're going to take a very quick 2-minute intermission, and then we'll get started. 2 minutes. Thank you all.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and reconvene the board meeting. Moving on to item B under Section 4, New Business, approval of a contract between the Industrial Development Board of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County and Carpenter Law for Issuers Counsel and Disclosure Counsel services. And a couple main highlights from The document, at our previous meeting, the board voted to select Carpenter Law Firm to serve as issuers counsel to the IDB for matters related to its issuance of municipal securities. For the board's consideration is the proposed contract retaining the firm for a period of 5 years. Either party may terminate the agreement without cause by providing 90 days notice. A vote by the board is required. So a couple items, and we have the Carpenter firm here. If you all will come up, go ahead and take a seat up here, please. Thank you all for coming today. A couple items. So there's this document, this final document that you all received last week. There were a couple minor changes, so I just want to highlight those for the board. One of those is just what we discussed. It increased the termination timing from 30 to 90 days. So again, it's a 5-year deal, but certainly flexibility. If the Carpenters are not happy or they need to change, and they can terminate this contract, but certainly we have that flexibility as well if we feel like we need a different firm or to go in another direction. So I think it's great we have flexibility, and I thank the Carpenters for agreeing to that term, because certainly if we needed to find counsel, certainly if we want to have everybody involved in the process, 30 days is really tight. So that's one of the changes from the initial draft that this board saw. The two other major items were just related to, in this final draft, there's language specifically stating that our council, should this be approved, will provide us and share their fees that they're charging other parties that come before us. That specifically stated in the agreement clearly. And there's also some additional language that was added that this board would not be for these specific type services, that this board would not be charged fees. So those were the three major items that were changed in this final draft. And I thank the Carpenter firm for agreeing to those. So with that, everybody's got a chance to look at the agreement. And again, those were really the three changes. I'll start with you if you want to give a quick couple minutes specifically on the agreement, anything you want to say on that, and then I'll turn it over to questions for my board members. Great to see you all again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and we just like to thank the board for the confidence that you placed in our office to give you guidance and direction with the legalities involving the issuance of securities and some of the other incentives that this board may offer as you go forward. We have substantial experience in that regard over many jurisdictions that we practice in. We specialize in this area. 85% of what we do is securities law, and we also work with other economic development agencies in different jurisdictions. So it was really informative to listen to the interaction this morning with the earlier agenda items and the concern that this board has and the need to gather information. And one of the things that we hope to do as a firm is to take you to the next step, where this IDB has finances, has incentives, has programs that they can help to facilitate the next step. Because after the planning, the next question is, well, how do we pay for it? How do we incentivize this? And as the developer said, you can't just put all of that weight on a developer. Government has a role to play. IDBs have a role to play. And that's what we focus on, and that's how we help you as an entity move forward to carry out your mission. So I think the contract is fair. Your chairman and legal counsel did a good job in making sure that it was refined to accommodate all of the concerns that you have. We agree with all of that. We think that state law requires all of that disclosure and transparency, and we had agreed to do that anyway. but to just have it codified in specific terms in the agreement is an excellent way to create the relationship that we have, and we look forward to working with you, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Yep, thank you. Thank you so much. Let's start here to my right again. Board Member Wright, any questions or comments related specifically to the agreement?
No questions. I actually reviewed everything, and as mentioned, with the things you highlighted, it looks good to me. I'm ready to move forward. I think we have a good firm that's going to be working with us, and I like their energy and willingness to teach, and move us to the next level. And I think that's where we really need to go. We need to go to the next level because this is an important board, when it comes to development. So I'm ready to move forward. It's great.
Did you just make a motion?
Yes, I did.
You did? If you want to.
I can? Okay, well, I made the motion that we accept the contract here and move forward.
All right, do we have a second? All right, motion is properly seconded by Board Member Davis. Any discussion? So if you have questions or comments, you can still...
Yeah, we can do discussion based on that motion. I'm not a lawyer, so I didn't read all the fine print of this contract, but I kind of had an understanding of it last meeting. I just wanted to revisit that a second, but mostly with fees, we're doing that whole, if there's a deal, there's sort of a percentage or something, a fee built in, but then if there's something that we ask for outside of the typical process, that would then be billed at a rate or whatever. Is that correct?
That's correct.
What we agreed upon. Okay.
That's correct. So this is, for this particular contract, we're bringing the Carpenter Zone specifically as our issuers counsel. But there may be different, that come up.
We could come up with, hey, we want this now, and that would then be outside their typical scope. Okay, and that was my understanding based on what we've talked about in previous meetings.
And I think they said, it's on video. I think they said they would give us a blended rate because one attorney has just a tad bit more experience.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So give us a blended rate for boards, if I recall correctly. That's what I recall.
Absolutely. I'm excited about the new relationship as well. I'm very interested in, exploring more what this board can do if we really stretch our legs, and we're limited on our resources. We know the ECD has been limited on their resources. We're all, not employees here, just trying to be volunteers. But still, if there are things we can do, if we're willing to dedicate the time, what are those tools that we can be using to, what is our mission, I guess? We need to distill that a little bit, I think, hence maybe the idea for a retreat or something I thought was a good idea. What is our mission fully, and then what can we do with tools that we're not using?
Yep, thank you for your questions and comments. Any other questions or comments? All right. Last, I'll just say I want to thank the board, certainly. I want to thank the Carpenters, and certainly want to thank the Metro team because they were very instrumental in assisting with this. And I think what we found, which is really great, is we really had several firms that probably could have fit and done what we needed to do, but it seemed like if we were wanting to explore future opportunities and we're looking for a partner, this was the firm. That was overwhelmingly clear by the board. Hey, if we just want to keep doing what we've been doing, we several qualified firms, but the potential for a partner and willing to work with us was abundantly clear when this board went forward. So anyway, we have a motion on the floor to approve this contract. Josh, before you vote, anything from a legal perspective, you reviewed this? Are you good with this?
Yes, I think everything's in order. I'll just mention, and take a bit of personal privilege here, but I've been working with the Carpenters on this agreement, and it's been great to work with them, and they've been very patient as we work through this. But I have reviewed the contract, and I think everything's good to go, and everything's ready to, if the board so approves it, I think we're in good shape.
All right. So, again, there's a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded. We've had any other discussion? Okay. So we'll move forward with voting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. All right, motion carried. Congratulations. We look forward to it. Thank you. Thank you all. And we'll certainly probably be seeing you very soon again. So thank you all. Very excited.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Looking forward to working with each of you. And we'll work with Chairman Hodge, Josh, and Courtney to get a date for their board training and education. We're looking at July 14th or 15th preliminarily, but we will get with Chairman Hodge and get that date down, and we're looking forward to it. All right.
Yep, super excited about that. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on in new business to item number C, approval of an interlocal agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County and the Industrial Development Board of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County for administrative, financial, and legal services. All right, the Metropolitan Government through the Mayor's Office of Economic and Community Development, Department of Finance, and Department of Law provides administrative and general legal support to the board at no charge pursuant to an interlocal agreement. The last agreement approved in 2017 expires on June 30th, 2022. The Metropolitan Government supports renewing the interlocal agreement for another 5-year period on the same terms. Either party may terminate the agreement without cause by providing 90 days notice. Upon approval by the board, the agreement will then need to be approved by the Metropolitan Council at the June 21st meeting to avoid a lapse. A vote by the board is required. So again, same thing here. The agreement that you all received is very similar to the current interlocal agreement that we have. But again, there is also a 90-day termination 90-day early termination clause by either party. So what I'll just say big picture is as we continue to grow and this board expands potentially, our relationship with Metro government may change. And so a year from now, 18 months from now, the services that we need or the service that Metro can provide for us may look different based on our needs. And so the great thing about this agreement is we have that flexibility to change as we go through this journey, and we do this type retreat next month, and we go through and this board, again, just explores every avenue to really focus on the items that I've heard this board talk about. Our needs may change, and that's fine. And that's why this agreement provides flexibility for all parties, because it may look different, and that's okay. So I will stop there. Board member Oakley, I'll start with you. Any questions or comments related to the agreement? All right, Board Member Davis. All right. Board member here. Okay. I'll go to my right now. Nope. Board Member Johnson. Okay. Board Member Cordova. Vice Chair Siegel. Okay. All right. Well, Josh, do you want to say anything about the agreement?
There's not much to say. I mean, obviously, back in 2017, there was a previous iteration of this agreement. It expires at the end of this month. The agreement that's before you is exactly the same agreement as before. The only thing that's been changed is the dates to reflect that it's a new 5-year period that will commence on July 1st. As the chair mentioned, actually need to get this, well, assuming that you do approve it, we need to get it before the council at their next meeting, which is June 17th, or I may be wrong about the date, but whatever the next meeting is in June, so we can...
It's the 22 weeks from yesterday.
21st, yes.
21st.
Okay,
yeah.
I can't do math, so yesterday was the 7th.
That's why you're an attorney, right?
Exactly.
But you know how to do those billable hours, so okay.
I don't have to bill, which is thankful.
Time and date calculator.
You know, I found in, not to get off on an aside, in Microsoft Outlook in the calendar, if you use the calendar function, you do plus the number of days, it would actually calculate it for you. And this is a new feature that I learned.
Oh, that's see.
I'm also going to send you an app where you can add, subtract, you can put in all your stuff, and it'll just do it.
That would be helpful. But yes, we obviously need to get it on council before the council before the end of this month, so there is no lapse. But the administration has looked at this agreement, and they are in support of renewing for another 5-year term. So everything gets in order. So if this board so chooses, we are ready to move forward.
All right, thank you for that. So is there a motion to approve the interlocal agreement? All right, so we have a move from Vice Chair Siegel. Is there a second? Okay, we'll go second here by Board Member Johnson. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. All right, motion carried. Thank you, team. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is the chairman's report, I think. Yes. All right. Perfect. All right. So a couple matters just from a update just since the last time we came. Since the last time we met, rather, Quinn, Vice Chair Siegel, and I attended the. I want to make sure I get your title right. Vice Chair Siegel and I attended the grand opening. I should say, grand opening for. The affordable housing project by Dominium on Dickerson Pike by Lowe's. It's actually been open for a while, but it was pushed back for COVID. And then there was also the groundbreaking. It was also to celebrate the groundbreaking for their project, Cleveland Park, on the southern part of Dickerson Pike that this board approved last year. And so due to the weather, everything took place at the Highland Ridge. But really awesome event. Vice Chair Siegel, not to put you on the spot, but anything you want to say about that? Just thought it was a really great event, and certainly as this board had approved both of those deals related to bond financing. Anything you want to say about the event?
I really appreciated being invited. I appreciated getting to talk to the folks at MDHA, some of whom weren't aware that we were actually involved. So I thought that was an interesting just sort of point of reference as we go into our planning, that there are folks in Nashville working on things who don't always realize that there are other folks working on them, and there may be opportunities there that we need to be mindful of. And I mean, I just got to say, I haven't seen a view like that. And since I don't know when, Nashville is a city of views because we're a city of hills, and the view up there is really magnificent. And to be able to be involved in helping with that in our small way, we should all be proud, because that's really nice housing up there. It's very convenient, and I think everybody was really excited. They gave tours of all the units, and it was really great.
Yep, thank you for your comments. And I had the opportunity to speak briefly at the event, and I personally just talked about how expensive and how much Nashville has changed from a cost perspective, and certainly super excited and had the same opportunity to talk with individuals as well. And so part of, as we move forward, is making sure that people know all the things that we can do as best we can. We don't have a marketing budget. Obviously, Metro doesn't have the economic team. It's not a huge department, but certainly the things that I can do as a board member here, and certainly as chair, is as much as possible attend events like that and talk to people and get the word out for the types of items that this board can do. But anyway, just super cool project, very, very exciting. Got to tour the units. They look amazing. Got a chance to talk with the developer as well, and then I challenged them to bring more affordable units here. Super excited about what they did there and what they're doing at 900 Cleveland Park. But I think I ended my speech with asking, bring us more, which obviously is challenging, but that's what we like to do. But really cool project. Actually, probably at next week's meeting, I'll show you all some pictures. And yeah, the view is phenomenal. I was actually at the co-op yesterday and took a picture from Dickerson Pike, just looking at it. It's really beautiful. So I'll show you all some pictures next week. So we had that. Also, just want to update this board since then. You all should have received an email, too, for an event that took place last week for Sky Harbor grand opening. They came before this board last July. They're in the private hangar business that took place at the airport last Thursday. I didn't see anyone there, but maybe you were there. But I did see Courtney there. We had a chance to chat, and pretty neat event. Again, they came before us. We did not issue the bond for that project, but we had to do the TEFRA hearing. And so really neat project. Again, I'll show you all some pictures next week. Courtney, anything you want to say about the Sky Harbor event? I thought it was really cool event and what they're adding to the airport.
Yeah, and airport's one of our partners, as you know, with BNA and their expansion plans, and with the rapid growth taking place here in Nashville. A lot of our private charters are looking to set up operations here, but also just have facilities that really meets the requirements of some of our key industries here in Nashville, from entertainment to those who may be in the tech sector. I think Sky Harbor will do very well here. But just going back to your earlier points, we have to improve our line of communication with our various departments. There are various tools that you control. There are various tools that MDHA controls for economic development and housing. And there are some tools and access and resources that BNA has, along with the administration itself. So it's all about coordination and communication. So as we move forward and craft these strategies and your board retreat and look at your toolbox from an IDB standpoint, and Metro will look at the overall strategy for housing, market value analysis, but also workforce and economic development. What are the best tools and who's on first and who's on second and how these things should be aligned. And so the Sky Harbor transaction is one of those where we actually utilize your tools, the ability to issue bonds via public hearing or TEFRA hearing. There's a capacity there to promote that and utilize the toolbox that you have to work with our various partners around Metropolitan Nashville's government.
Yeah, thank you. And it was a pretty fun event. I was hoarse the next day. I guess I should not say anything else. But anyway, really great event. I'll show you all some pictures next week. And then just two more items as we move forward in today's chairman's report. Next item, just want to go over scheduling. Thank everyone for their patience. We are planning to still have our regular scheduled meeting, which falls on next Wednesday, the 15th. But I do thank you all for your flexibility and meeting today as well. So we do plan to still meet next week. So that's the 15th. That meeting will be here.
Did you want to take a poll and, I guess, get a status update to items for next week?
You say it one more time?
Did you want to take a poll from the members about their availability?
Next Wednesday, which are... $15? Oh, yeah, I'm good. Okay. We're good. Thank you. Okay. And then as we move forward, probably just a couple things. So the Carpenter firm is great. I'm grateful that they're willing to do this, to have a guest speaker as well as themselves come and talk to us and kind of do a retreat just in general about some things that this board can potentially do. Also talking with us about bonds and fee structure. So a training, quite frankly, I would anticipate that's going to be several hours. We're looking at July 14th or 15th for that. And so here over the next week, we'll try to finalize that in location as well. Does anyone have a preference? The 14th is a Thursday. The 15th is a Friday. Does anyone have a preference one way or the other on those dates? Just go ahead.
I do believe July 15th is the start of early voting. So this space may be...
We weren't going to do it, but thank you. Yeah, because we had that before. From a date standpoint, is there a preference from anybody on the Thursday or the Friday? Yes. But you do what you. If you have to leave, people have to leave.
I'm traveling on the 14th and 15th. So
Okay, it doesn't. Okay. Vice Chair Siegel, any preference?
I'm good both the 14th.
All right, let me go to my left. July. This is for several hours for kind of retreat / training.
15th, I think I'm just getting back on the 14th, so I'd be there on the 15th. I could try. We'll try.
All right.
It's not happening.
15th, okay. So from what I'm heard for the folks here today, some people are available both days, but there are some preferences for the Friday the 15th. So we'll, here over the next week, we'll work on that and pin down exact time and try to get location pinned down as well. So, and then we'll still have our regularly scheduled meeting as well in July. Yes, and then for our August meeting, which will again be our normal scheduled meeting, I anticipate that will be off-site somewhere. More information to come on that. So, any questions on scheduling? All right. And then lastly, very quickly, I'll say, so part of next week's agenda and Chairman's report, what I'm going to do is present essentially a state of the Industrial Development Board to the board and look at what have we done over the past fiscal year, what are some of our successes, but also looking at what are some of the things I've heard this board say that they like to do, what that looks like. And if this board says, no, Nigel, you've got it all wrong, then, hey, we go in a different direction. But looking at that, setting some short-term goals, but also long-term goals that may take us a long time. And some of these things may be, and the purpose of this is not to say yay or nay, we absolutely can't do it. It's this is ideal, what we want to be. And so I've been reading a book. Some of you probably have read it, To Love a City by Reverend William Barnes. Obviously, the Barnes Fund is named in his name. And if you haven't read it, really, really neat book. I'll bring it at the next meeting if anybody wants to borrow it. But really, really interesting book. And so there's a lot of people personally that I've spoken with that are wanting to partner, that are excited about some potential items. So I will share that and just talk about too some ways that we can try to market this board and do that. So anyway, super excited about it. Also show some pictures, maybe pictures of board members in this presentation. But anyway, we'll do that, and certainly, but this is, again, let me be clear, this state of the IDB, this is not state of Metro, this is specifically related to this board, and this is not just me talking, this is a presentation for everybody, so this will kind of also be an open forum for us to discuss what are the things we'd like to see short-term, long-term, and then certainly share that feedback with the carpenters as well as we get ready for this retreat that we're going to have hopefully next month. So all I have on mine, any questions or comments on dates or scheduling? All right. We'll move on to the next item, financial matters. Joy, I know I saw Rhonda's email, so thank you for filling on that. Can you update us on that?
Okay, so the current IDB cash balance is $69,464.83, and there are no invoices to be approved and paid.
All right, so there's nothing that we need to approve then. All right. Outstanding. All right, well, it is here at 11:36. If there are no other matters before the board, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for your time.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.